Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 9, entitled as Raja Vidya Rajaguhyam. Sloka 7. Sarva-bhūtāni kaunteya prakṛtiṁ yānti māmikām kalpa-kṣaye punas tāni kalpādau visṛjāmy aham. So far, we understood that everything is happening based on the will of the Lord, Sankalpa. His Sankalpa is not dependent on anything else. When the time comes, the Lord gets reminded of creation, and even the time itself fully depends on the will of the Lord. Now, with that understanding, a next question comes in mind. That is, I understand that all these things which are presently seen or resting upon you hold, you are the adharam, the base for everything. But at the time of destruction, where will they go? Right now it is depending on you, but after destruction, what will happen to them? And that is what has been addressed in this particular sloka. So there are two things, srishti and pralaya. Srishti means creation, pralaya means dissolution, destruction. Actually, the pralaya term is loosely translated in English as destruction. But the right way to understand pralaya, layam means the karya dasa goes into karana dasa, meaning whatever the current form that particular object is, it goes into the previous stage from wherever it came from. So creation is, it is said, akashat vayuhu vayur agnihi agnir apaha adha prithvi prithivyo oshadhayaha oshadayo annam annat purushaha. So this is the order where the creation happens. From the akasha, the sky, comes the air. From air, fire comes. From fire, the water comes. From water, the earth comes. This is how the Panchabhuta gets created in the sequence. When we say pralaya, then it's nothing but the reverse of it. The earth goes back to water, water to fire, fire to air, air to sky. And that is what is meant by pralaya. For example, if we take a clay pot, we break the clay pot, it becomes pieces. You bake it further, it becomes powder. So we can see that the clay pot goes back to its previous stage. Therefore, the right understanding of pralaya is change of one form to another form. It is not non-existence. That is not what has been told here or meant by pralaya. Both, whether it is srishti or pralaya, it happens by Krishna's sankalpa will. Let's see the word by word translation. Kaunteya, O son of Kuntī, sarva-bhūtāni, all the entities that were created, kalpa-kṣaye, at the end of millennium, that is at the time of dissolution, māmikām, my, prakṛtiṁ yānti, enter into prakriti, moola prakriti, tāni, all those same entities, punas, again, kalpādau, at the beginning of the millennium, that is creation, aham, I, visṛjāmy, create or send forth. Translation: O son of Kuntī, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So Krishna addresses Arjuna here as kaunteya. In this sloka and few other slokas, Krishna will be calling Arjuna with different names, and the meaning or deeper meaning of why Krishna calls Arjuna in certain way has been explained by Swami Desikan in his Tātparya Chandrika. Here he says that kaunteya, O son of Kuntī. Why Krishna calls Arjuna here like that? Reminding about his mother. Well, how do you know you are son of Kuntī, Arjuna? Arjuna's response is, what question is this, Krishna? My relatives have confirmed. My mom, whom I trust, she tells. Why do you trust your mother's word, Arjuna? What do you mean, Krishna? Who else should I trust more than my own mother? She's my well-wisher. She's not going to lie. Well, me too, Arjuna. At least your mother lied in case of Karna, but I never do so. I am the true eternal mother, father, friend, well-wisher, everything for you. Have complete trust in my words, O kaunteya, O son of Kuntī. That is the reason why Krishna addresses Arjuna as kaunteya. Though Krishna addressed Arjuna as kaunteya, it doesn't necessarily mean that Krishna is saying this message only to kaunteya. It applies to all of us who are hearing. We should have complete faith that our Supreme Father, Krishna, would not mislead us. Therefore, the information that he is sharing here to us is all full of truth, which has been supported by the sages, which has been supported in the scriptures, which is what Krishna is re-emphasizing in Bhagavad Gita. Here, kalpa is not one day. Usually, kalpa means a day of Brahma. But in this context, kalpa-kṣaye, it refers to the prakrita pralaya. We already saw what is prakrita pralaya, naimitika pralaya, nitya pralaya, atyantika pralaya. To refresh what they are, please refer to chapter 8, sloka 17 through 19, part 2. So the kalpa here refers to prakrita pralaya, which means at the time of Brahma's lifetime. When Brahma finishes his lifetime, that is called prakrita pralaya. Everything enters into Krishna, and this happens through Krishna's will alone. They all merge back into Krishna. Again, at the time of creation, Krishna produced them in their forms. This also happens by Krishna's sankalpa, will. During the Mahapralaya, the greater dissolution, the earth merges into water. That is, it gets transformed into water. The water merges into fire, which becomes or transformed into fire, and the fire merges into air, that becomes air, and the air then merges into sky, akasha, and becomes akash. Then after that, the akash merges into ahankara. Then ahankara merges to mahan, and mahan to prakriti. The prakriti has 3 stages: avyaktam, aksharam, and tamas. This sequence is nothing but a reverse of what has been created. And this is explained in the Upanishad. Bhūtādir mahati liyate, mahan avyakte liyate, avyaktam akshare liyate, aksharam tamasi liyate, tamak pare deve yeki bhavati. And that is what we just discussed. The reverse process from earth finally to tamas. Tamas is complete darkness. Nothing exists. Everything is in its unmanifested state. When the time comes, by the will of the Lord, that is sankalpa, the tamas changes to akshara, aksharam to avyaktam, avyaktam to mahan, mahan to ahankara. Ahankaram of 3 classification: satvika ahankara, rajasa ahankara, tamasa ahankara. From satvika ahankara, pancha jnanendriya, pancha karmendriya, and manas, that is mind, gets created. And then from tamasa ahankara, pancha tanmatra and pancha bhūtam get created. The rajasa ahankara assists these 2 ahankaras. We also touched this subject matter in the 7th chapter, 4th sloka. That is, those things which were existing in undifferentiated form, with no name, no classification, nothing like he is deva, he is manushya, this is pakshi, this is animal. One cannot differentiate. There is no classification in that stage, in that state. All these things happens from tamas, which is part of the Supreme Lord. And tamas get triggered by the will of the Lord. Unless the Lord initiates this through sankalpa, the tamas remains dormant, will do nothing. So to summarize, in accordance with the sankalpa, the will of Krishna, all the stationary and moving entities enter into Krishna's prakriti at the end of Brahma's life. And at the beginning of a cycle, everything gets created. That is, from unmanifested to manifested state. When we say that at the dissolution everything merges into the Supreme Lord, that does not mean that they lose their individuality. They remain separate, but always connected. Sarva-bhūtāni kaunteya, prakṛtiṁ yānti māmikām, kalpa-kṣaye punas tāni, kalpādau visṛjāmy aham. Namaste. Hare Krishna.